Okay, well, I'm glad you're all here. So we are going to talk about the Liberati today, what it is, what it is not, what I don't know about it yet, because we're going to figure it out together. Um, and so there's going to be time for questions, but as we go through, just think of your questions, write them down or drop them in the chat. And before we start looking at what I'm calling the Liberati Lounge, Liberati Lodge seemed just a little too culty for me. So it's the Liberati Lounge, where you will have all of your resources, all the things you need to, be part of this community and interact. I just want to talk a little bit about community, so y'all can have a better understanding of like where I'm coming from, what's in my mind as I was, building this and as I'm going forward. So you can see if it's kind of, vibing with what you're feeling right now. So the reason that I wanted to do this community now is because I think that it's something that a lot of people have been yearning for, but we are in so many different locations, it's so hard to find one. And so a lot of us have been popping in and out of loose communities, I would call them, like Facebook groups or Discords, but we find that we don't really get that engagement that keeps us there. And there's not really a cohesive, shared values that make us want to stay. So that's something that needs to be built intentionally. And so I thought, okay, let's build it intentionally. In my coaching with authors, a lot of one-on-one coaching, this is something that I've heard people say they want more of. And I'm working one-on-one with people and they don't realize that they're all kind of saying the same thing. So this is what we're doing. We really want to move the author mindset from individual. We are, many of us, indie authors, but from that individual mindset to understanding that when we pool our resources, there is enough for everyone to have what they need. When we bring all of our intelligences together, all of our perspectives together, we get smarter and more capable, and new and interesting things happen. So I want to create a space with this community where you feel like you can show up as yourself. You don't have to be all the things, right? You just show up, you know your type, your Enneagram type. And if you don't know, I can help you find that. But you kind of know what you're bringing and you don't have to be all the things. You show up, you listen to other people, you know that other people have you covered. And that's, I think, what we could really use right now, especially as many of us are rebuilding those skills after the pandemic of just being around people and relating to people and building those muscles back. I just wanted there to be a place where you could just come and ask questions and have commiseration if you need, but also a place where like the new ideas can form. So this part is maybe a little bit scary, but I think many of us sense that the systems that we have built our platforms on, many of them are beginning to collapse. Some of the processes we've relied on are not working, and there's not much longer, right? We're not going to get much more juice for the squeeze out of some of these different, kind of outdated ways. So what I want is that we don't wait until everything's falling, that we start building the new thing now, start imagining it. I don't know what it's going to be, but there's going to be something and we'll imagine it together. And it may look like, okay, we're creating a new platform that's author interests first. Right? It could be that we are creating collectives, not all of us, in one, but maybe there's smaller collectives that start to form from this. I just see the need for there to be a central hub for everyone to come together and take ownership of figuring out what's next. What do you want? How, dream big, see what it's going to be and see who else is down to try and make it with you. So that's really what I'm looking for, is that central hub for us. Now, as far as community, I'm shooting for maybe 100 to 150 people in this. That would be my goal. We're not quite up to that yet. The wait list is nearing 100, but I don't expect everyone will join. But that's a very loose community, and you're not going to like everyone in it. I'm not going to like everyone in it, but I will be nice. But it's just a starting point for us to practice these skills, and that's where the Enneagram comes in, because we're going to be practicing sort of understanding where our patterns are really useful for community and where our natural patterns maybe keep, picking away at it in places that we don't mean to. And so as we walk that together, we'll be able to figure that out. Has anyone here heard or watched my videos on the deep roots, rich soil, dense forest approach to sustainability? Okay, yeah. So this is, for those of you who haven't, watched it, I'm not gonna do the full spiel, don't worry. But it's an approach to building a sustainable author career. We want those deep roots of knowing ourselves, right? Of figuring out, who am I? What are my patterns? What do I need? And getting to know oneself. And then there's the rich soil. What environment do I need to thrive in? How do I create that for myself? What do I still need? What's going to be a challenge? That's understanding the soil we grow in. And then the dense forest is finding other trees that we can share resources with. This is important for a healthy forest, is that the trees are sharing through the roots, through the fungi underneath, sharing resources because they understand that they can only survive if they have those other trees around them. When the wind blows, you have someone to knock up against so you don't fall over. And so that's really what this is about, is how do I create a place that can foster this dense forest, and a place where we really work on deepening our roots. So there will be different degrees of commitment and involvement from people in this. I understand that, right? So I kind of imagine there are these concentric circles. Probably those of you who are showing up today are going to be in that innermost circle, who are active, who are really building and generating that energy in the group. And that's great. Every group needs that. But there will be people who want to be more active but just have things going on in their life, and they'll be a little farther out in that circle. And there will be some people who kind of jump in, but this is hard, and maybe they couldn't commit to it like they thought, or they just don't want to participate as much as other people. So there will be different degrees of participation, and that's what I expect, and that's okay. And you may move throughout the year from one circle out, back in. That's okay too. But that's why I want it to be about 100 to 150 people, because I know that that's not how many active people we're going to have. But I do want you to feel like this is a place where you have agency. I think agency has been taken away from authors a lot lately. I think it's been behaviorally trained out of us, right? All of us, myself included, over the last few years with some of our tech use. And I want us to remember that we have it and we can make whatever we want. That's why we're authors, because we're control freaks, right? We want to control a world in our stories. And so we have that capacity to build the world that we want, the world that we like, or the world that delights us in some way. And so I want to create a space where you have that permission and you can practice that, sort of extreme agency. Okay, so let's pause. Are there any questions on what I've talked about so far? All right. So I will share my screen and let's go look at the Liberati Lounge. Oh, wait, 1 second. Pull up that. So this is not a completed project. It's still in the works, but you'll get a feel, I think, of it. I'm not launching this for a little bit, so I will be sort of building this out over time, but I wanted to make sure that it's something that you can get a feel of. So here is the back end of it. So this is going to be on the Liberated Writer. When you join the Liberati, you'll get the login and everything to this, and this is just going to be the events calendar here. So every month, I will update it 3 months out, so you'll be able to put it on your calendar 3 months out, because I know we're busy. So you can see the events calendar. You can hover over individually and see what's going on. You can click it for more information. So right now, we are in April, but in May, we're gonna have the Liberati kickoff call on May 18th. So that gives you a little hint of when I'm gonna open up the registration. It's the 4th of May. So we'll do our kickoff call, and this is where we're all gonna meet, and we're gonna party as much as you can, depending on your schedule. Then we'll have the special topic, and we're starting off with community participation by each type. That just seemed kind of obvious. Like, how do we get the most out of community? Where do we run into the problems with community? Like, where does it rub up against some of those deep inner patterns? And just bringing some awareness to that, and then remembering like why community desperately needs us. why any community would be in shambles without us. And then we'll have our Enneagram type focus. I think I'm going to start with type 2. We may change this, but I think we're going to start with the 2s and go into the heart triad. And each month we'll focus on a different one. So this is a much more in-depth exploration that we're going to do of the type. Like, you've probably seen my free type calls. Maybe you've seen some of my material on like Substack or my email where I kind of talk about a specific little thing with the type. This is going to be going into some of the much deeper understandings of it, some of the patterns that are unexpected but common, and really getting to the bottom of it. So if you are that type, if you're married to that type, if you're co-writing with that type, if it's a type that you just can't seem to stand and you want to have a little more compassion for that type, or you're writing a character of that type, this is where you're going to become much more masterful with that particular Enneagram type. And then we'll have a social hour once a month. So the social hour is where we'll get together and we're going to hang out. So it won't just be me talking, thank God. It will be, you guys chatting about something like favorite middle school subject, or, random stuff with Author World. But then we're going to be doing some one-on-one time where you get to meet people. And I've been in groups that do this, and you're going to be like, I have to meet a stranger. But you're going to have already met them, maybe at the Liberated Writer Kickoff Call. Maybe you already know, or the Liberati Kickoff Call. Maybe you already know it. You know who they are. And it's going to be very short. So if it is awful, it'll be quick. But it's an opportunity for you to swap information with people who you like. If you want to email them about something, if you realize you're both working on a genre, we should do like a trade here. So it's a much more concentrated and focused time for people to meet, so that we start to get not just, everyone kind of shows up, but the webs of community, the one-on-one webs that hold community together, and we can start to spin those together. And then of course this falls into June because, time is of the essence, but we'll have a monthly Q&A call. And so this will be the time when you can come ask me. It can be about the stuff we've talked about. It can be anything. So this is essentially free group coaching that's included. So I would suggest that anyone who can come to the Q&A call. And as far as timing goes, I'm going to switch them around each month. So every couple of months, my hope is that one will fall at a time that works with your time zone, works with your schedule. I'll switch the days around. And we'll just try and do the best we can on finding a time that works so that everyone can feel like they are able to participate in these calls. Many of them will be recorded. So if you can't make it live, that will be available. Okay, then we're going to have a membership directory for those who want to be part of it. These people are not in the Liberati. They are, of course, stock photos from Squarespace. But wouldn't it be cool if they were? Like, they look cool. Anyway, this is going to be a membership directory. I'm going to create a form where you can, if you want to, you can give me a picture and fill out a quick bio on yourself, and we'll have it posted so you can browse who's here. We'll have contact info too, if anyone wants to do that. And this is totally optional. This is if you want to offer yourself up to the group and say, hey, if you want to reach out to me, reach out to me. I'm here, I'm a resource. And that's going to be an invitation for everyone to take that agency and say, that person looks cool. I'm going to go look at their website, and then I'm going to email them and say, hey, this book looks really awesome. Way to go. Or whatever, whatever cheering up or cheering for you want to do. Okay, and then we're going to have this resource library. This will look better. This is very standard, but we're going to have the link to the Slack group. We will have a Slack group with multiple channels. Kind of went back and forth between Slack and Discord, but I think Slack is a little bit more visually easy to navigate. If you want to request an IEQ 9, if you haven't taken that, there'll be a link for that, link to resources. Some quick links here, right? Here's where you would join the membership directory, because I cannot figure out how to get this button into this top section. Anyway, and then we're going to have some downloads. So I want to talk about these very quickly, because these are going to be important, and you will have access to these before you join, because it's important to consent, right? Membership agreement. Maybe you should have that before you become a member, right? That seems fair. So there'll be a membership agreement. It's going to be pretty basic. It's just, you're joining for 12 months. And if you have to leave, reach out to me and we'll we'll decide, what to do. Code of conduct, very important. This will be kind of basic, and I'm going to be basing all of that off the Enneagram. Spoiler alert, is like, how do we treat each other kindly? How do we allow other people to have different opinions, but, voice when we think that, hey, I'm not comfortable with that. So there's going to be a lot of how we proceed with that. I don't expect conduct to be a problem in this, just because, like, I'm looking at the people who are signed up here, and if this is, representative who's joining, it's just going to be awesome, and y'all are going to be like kind and interesting to talk to, and so I'm not super worried about it. But we got to get it on the record, right? And then the Liberati AI policy. This is mostly going to be me breaking down for you, so you have knowledge and consent, where AI is going to be involved in any of this, which frankly it's not, if I can help it, because I don't think that AI is very pro community in general. Like, I don't really see the benefit there. But then again, I'm using Squarespace, and Squarespace is always trying to wedge AI in, so I got to go through and figure out where it's doing that. Zoom, goodness gracious, Zoom is trying to wedge some AI in there. So I'm going to go and really comb through the tools that I use. But I don't expect that there will be any sort of like ingesting the stuff that we discuss, or any of the conversations, and repurposing it through some sort of LLM or machine learning tool. And then that would also include the AI policy for those involved, which would be pretty basic. Like, don't take stuff from the Slack and train a GPT on it, right? Don't take other people's work and extract it. Don't extract from the group, essentially, to try and create something, which is something that is happening with people in roles like me, as people are taking all of their free content and creating essentially what would be like a Claire GPT, and then just talking to that. And while, I don't like that, and I find it violating to my humanity, it just gives bad advice. So it tends to give really bad coaching advice. But we'll go through all that, but don't worry about it. If you use AI in your business in some capacity, this is not going to kick you out. This is not going to exclude you from this. It just means that in these spaces, this is what you can expect. So if you like to use it for whatever, for your automations, for brainstorming, for whatever, that's okay. You still have a space here. And then of course, this is where you can book the discounted one-on-one coaching with me. I'm just doing 45-minute sessions because I think those are easier to kind of get in and out of. And so I need to fill this out. But the basics, most of y'all have done an author alignment with me, story alignment, and then if you want a IEQ 9 and you want to do a consult, quick 30-minute consult. So that's where you'll book it. You'll book it through this link, so you don't have to worry about coupons or anything. The discount's already included. And then we'll have a place to submit questions for Q&As. So if you're not going to make it live, you can jump on here, drop those in as you think of them, and I will amass them all and answer them in the next Q&A. And then we have a community suggestion box. So I am trying my best not to over plan this and over mastermind or coordinate this, because I want there to be that openness for everyone's ideas to grow it organically. And so that's what the suggestion box is for. I want to host, but I want everyone to bring their own dish to the potluck, and I want us to, see what kind of a meal we come up with. So I'm trying not to be my type 1 self and plan everything down to the letter, because I just don't think that's good for the kind of community that I want to build. So this is the basics of the Liberati Lounge. I almost called it the Lodge. Liberati Lounge. And we're going to build it out together, and we can add more as we need, but this will be our shared sort of spot, and you'll have to log into this. There's also something that's included here. Let's see. There's also just an events page that you'll be able to access to, so you can come read the events when you're logged in. And this will be, again, planned 3 months out by the time we launch. Okay, any questions? Let me get to the chat. Okay, yeah. So Felicity says, are events taking place around this time? Since I'm in Europe, I just want to make sure they're taking place at a time I can show up. Yeah, so, okay, yeah, I just answered that. So they will jump around a little bit. I'm going to try to make it, possible where I can to sort of rotate. So at least every quarter, there's something that's easy for everyone to get to. As far as like the social hours, those aren't going to be recorded. Social hours aren't going to be recorded because let's face it, that's creepy. And so we're not going to record those. So you can have some privacy. But like my special topic, my Enneagram type, even the Q&A, those will be recorded for everyone. Okay. Heather asks, are you putting a cap on the total number of members? Yeah, so 150. I think it's called the Dunbar number. Is that what it is? It's the largest a group can be before it really starts to fracture. It's 150. I don't expect that if we had 100 to 150, it will be that many active members. That would be unprecedented. And I know we live in unprecedented times, but that would be especially unprecedented for like all of humanity. So yeah, at that. But I expect to be closer to like, I would love to get to 100, just because that would give us enough active members, but 80 to 100 I think is probably realistic. Megan asks, what sort of topics channels do you expect in the Slack group? That's a great question. So Slack is going to have probably, weekly goal setting. It's going to have brainstorming ideas. It's going to have asking for help. It's going to have offering help. It's going to have, whatever else y'all want to add. I think a victories channel is a great one to have where you can celebrate with people if, and we can remember to celebrate the small victories. It's a nice thing to have. I'll just celebrate one victory. I published my first fiction book in like a year this week, and I messaged my friends and they're like, how are you going to celebrate? And I was like, I don't know. I guess I'm going to go to the gym because I was going to do that anyway. Is that celebrate? No, it's not. But they held me to it. So, holding each other to celebrate what we accomplished because it's so easy to move past it. And then, if there's any sort of genre specific, if a lot of people are in a genre and you're like, hey, let's come up with something that's really going to be great for the fans. Let's do a collaboration. You can create a channel for that. It's going to be very open to that, but there will be some, some weekly rituals that go on in there. If you don't want to join Slack, that's okay. It's not essential, right? That would just be Slack is for kind of that inner group of people who's very active. Do you have any idea of the genre breakdowns by percentage given the existing wait list? No, I haven't really looked at that. I suspect a lot of romance, mystery, some sci-fi actually, but some paranormal stuff. Yeah, I don't know. And it's also hard because so many people write different genres. So like various genres, just multiple pen names. But what I would say is if you're in a genre that you don't think a lot of people are going to be in, invite the people in that genre that you like to be part of this community. Like that's part of it. We get to build it. And so, what I'm doing is I am going to some individual people and saying, hey, I would like for you to be in this. Would you be in this? And you're welcome to do that because that's gonna, I would say do that over like putting a blast on social media because there are a lot of people who don't need to be in this group, right? There are a lot of people who haven't yet deconstructed to the point where they understand that extraction is not community. So those people maybe don't need to be in, but the people who you're like, I think this person would be good, go ahead and invite them. Okay, cool. So if you have any other questions about this, yeah, so Laura's trying to get a feel of things. Can we vote people off the island, Dave says. Well, that's what the code of conduct is for, Dave. I'm going to try and anticipate what would make all of us want to vote someone off the island, and then I'm going to try and account for that in the code of conduct. Laura asks, so once a month, Enneagram writing topic based, once a month coaching Q&A, 2 group Zoomings a month. Okay, so yeah. So we have one that's going to be all of the Enneagram types specific to a subject. So community involvement, right? that would be, we're going to look at all 9 types and how they show up in community. That's one call. And it'll be like, one will be like email lists and all the 9 types, right? And really looking at how do we do these. So they're going to be very author specific for the most part. And then one that's just focused on a single type to really get to know that type. And then a Q&A, and then a social hour. So those will be the 4 guaranteed a month. And you know what? If y'all are like, hey, I'd really like something on this, and enough people say they'll show up, I'll do that. I may even invite people in who I think are experts on things and just like pay them to come talk. So it's really just about gathering together, seeing what our needs are, and then we can build from that. But those 4 meetings are the essential 4. On that note, will there be open enrollment all year? Great question. No, there is going to be a 2-week window for enrollment, and then I'm closing it for the year. And the reason I'm doing that is so that we don't have these people coming and going all the time, so that we have some stability within the group, so that we can really get to know each other. A year is a long enough time to start to like someone who you initially weren't so big on, right? Or to really learn to appreciate the people in the group. And it's just really nice to have the same people show up for you over and over again. I think that's essential in this community, and that's how you build trust. And so there's going to be the 2-week window, and then I'm going to close it. And then for the next 12 months, this is going to be the group we're with. And you know, part of the reason I do that is because it's easier to keep track of people, like not in like a creepy surveillance way, but just in like oh, I haven't heard from that person in a while. I'm going to reach out and see if they're doing okay. Right? I'm gonna catch up with them, right? Because over the year, we're going to have bumps in the road in our career. We're gonna have flops. We're gonna have, you know, health scares. We're gonna have all kinds of different things. And it's important that we have that stability, that the person can recognize that the group's still gonna be there for them. And that we recognize, hey, this person, we understand their behavioral patterns enough that we know something's happening, something's off, let me reach out to them. But also, you know, just recognizing that we're gonna be changing, and we want to make sure that everyone can show up, and to hold people accountable for not disappearing when they're going under stressful times. I don't know about y'all, but I have like the hurt dog reflex, where when I'm struggling, I disappear. You know, I go hide under the porch. And that's not the best thing for me, right? It's like, I know that when I'm struggling, the best thing is to reach out, but that's not how many of us were trained. So we want to start repatterning that as well. So we want to make sure that we have that closed and consistent group for challenging ourselves in this way. Yes, it is Dunbar. Okay, thanks, Dave. Okay, yeah, lots of... I mean, I have a theory that this is gonna, like, the hurt dog syndrome is for people whose stress type is a withdrawing type. So that would be like 3, 8, and 1 especially, but it could be any of us. It could be any of us. So yeah. All right. Okay, so I do want to just stress that this group, in my, you know, imagination, is a starting point, and it's not the finish line. It's a starting point. It's where you're going to meet the people that you're still going to be in community with 5 years later. But it's not necessarily that you're going to still be in the Liberati, right? I can't commit to running this for 5 years. That's crazy. But this is where you're going to meet the people who you continue on with, and who you build sort of the next phase of your career, whatever that looks like. You're going to be building it with those people. So that's what I hope. I hope when we, you know, imagine 5 years from now, we can imagine what we want. And then this is a place, a resource that we're all gathering, where we can start to find the people that will help us build that, who have that same vision, want that same thing, and are willing to offer their individual gifts and perspective to work toward that. So that's what I really think is the next step for the author world. And I think that starts with building the muscles and the practices of support, and educating ourselves on how we can be better collaborators, better community members, myself included. This is something that I still have to work on. And I'm trying to balance being part of the community with also hosting the community. And I'm not going to get that balance right all the time. And my hope is that y'all will let me know when I don't get it right so that I can correct and to hold me accountable. So you are in a great position because you can invite the people that you want, right? Part of the point of making this price point very low is that, people can join if they think this is something they want. I understand that I'm undercutting all of the prices of all of my other offerings with this. So I hope that if you were planning on getting coaching, you will just jump in and do this as well. But it's just that important to me. I think it's the time for it. And so it's just that important to me. So the cost is $100 a month. That's it for 12 months. You can pay up front and save $200 if you want, if that's your thing, but you can also just do the $100 a month, and that's, 8 hours with me or 6 hours plus, social call. Plus I'll be on Slack chatting you up. You can ask questions there. So there's a lot of time with me for much cheaper than my hourly rate. But mostly it's just a place where people can gather and I can host. So that 100 a month will be going towards my behind the scenes border collie energy, to make sure that everyone has what they need, that I'm, able to track who is showing up and reach out to the people and offer the help that's needed so nobody feels like they're forgotten. Yeah. Yes, Dave says, less than the other masterminds, which include people who don't belong on the island. Yeah, and the thing with a lot of the other masterminds, not to talk crap about, colleagues or anything, but it really is like the way that it's structured does not always encourage people to have agency to build things within it themselves. And this is really what I want you to do. Like, I want you to treat this like, almost like, okay, this is the land. I'm going to host the land and you get to build whatever structures you want. As long as you're bringing other people with you, it's just a practice place to figure out where, what do you want to build? Where do you want to be in 5 years? And how do you get there? And you got lots and lots of support to help you figure it out and to brainstorm. So, okay. Any questions? Okay, Laura says, I'm a little confused. I thought there was 4 hours a month in calls. I just heard 8 hours plus social calls. I may have said year. There's 4 calls a month. And so like the topical call, the special topic call, and the Enneagram specific call will be 2 hours each. And then I may not have written that out on the calendar, but by the time it launches, it'll be correct. The Q&A call will be 1 to 2 hours. And then the social call, we're going to start with an hour, but if we feel like we need more time to get to know more people, we can bump that up to 2 hours. So it's flexible. It hasn't necessarily been decided, but each month there will be about that much time. Yeah. Yes, hopefully it's a lot of value. All right, any other questions? Any other thoughts? I'll sip my last coffee of the day, the saddest coffee of the day. All right, well, if y'all have questions as you think about this and consider this and go, hey, I'm not sure if this is for me, here's my situation, please just email me, claire@ffs.media, and we can chat about it. Like I know you guys, for the most part, I know everyone here. So even if I don't know you, if I haven't worked with you much, feel free to reach out to me. I am happy to guide you through it. I want the right people in this, and I want the wrong people not in it. So I will help you. And I also don't want anyone going into, financial debt or anything, for the sake of this. And so I hope that the 100 a month is possible for everyone who wants to be in here. But just reach out to me if that's not, we can talk. Christina asks, I'm just in the early stages of author journey, only 2 books in. Is this too early? No, that's perfect. There are going to be people in all stages of the author journey. Like just on here looking around, I see people who've been in this industry for 10 plus years. But there are also people who have only published a couple books. Your life situations are going to vary. I don't think that influences the value that you bring. So, 2 books in, I think you are actually in a very helpful position because you get to decide where you're going, right? It can be harder sometimes when you are deeply entrenched in processes that you don't want to be in to make moves. That's kind of where I'm at right now. There are a lot of platforms I use, service providers I use that I don't want to use anymore. But I'm like, oh, it's going to be such a big deal to change everything over. So you're in a great spot. And if anyone treats you as less than because you only have 2 books and they have a lot more, let me know. We're not doing that here. We're all showing up as equals. So, oh, thanks, Sylvie. Sylvie's in the chat singing my praises. I'll take it. I'll take it on a Thursday. All right. Well, it was so good to see so many familiar faces. I hope that you'll consider joining. And if you have any questions, reach out to me. I would love to have, if this was the core group of people, I think we would have something pretty special that everyone who doesn't join is going to feel jealous of when they can't enroll during the 12 months. But yes, please help me get the word out. Obviously, I'm not on social media anymore, so I'm not posting about it there. But I actually like the word of mouth better. So because that means that you're going to invite people who you think are going to be awesome for this. If you know anyone, no pressure. If you're like, no, I'm joining because I don't know anyone, that's fine too. So yeah, have them join the wait list. And again, surprise, surprise, it's going to open on May 4th. So I will let you know. You will know. Don't you worry. If you open your email at any point in those 2 weeks, you're going to see something from me. Probably a lot of things from me. I apologize in advance, but all right. Well, May the 4th be with you. Yes. I hope the 4th is with us at that point. All right. Well, thanks for joining me. Good to see you guys. Have a great rest of your Thursday. If it's your lunchtime where you're at, go enjoy your lunch. Have some good digestion, and I will. I'll be hearing from you. I hope. I'll let you go. You'll be hearing from me. All right. Take care, guys.